Hello, my name is Dan Skip Allen, and this is Bleacher Features, where myself and a guest discuss a movie that we talked about prior, that we love, that we want to get this platform of talking about it. And my guest today is Kyle Arango. Kyle, thank you for being on Bleacher Features.
What's going on, Dan? Thanks for having me again. I've been on a couple of your shows before, and I think this is the first time I'm doing a sports one, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, this episode we're going to be talking about I, Tonya, which I know you're a big fan of this movie and the actress that it stars. So I knew you had a lot of enthusiasm for talking about I, Tonya.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just a fandom thing. It's you can look at this movie objectively and recognize that this is a great movie, one of the better sports movies of this century. It's fantastic. So I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So the whole idea is, we just break the film down from beginning to end, and we talk about the relevance of the movie and what it says about society and what it says about acting in the movies and then all that kind of good stuff. We're just gonna go on it, and I've done a bunch of episodes before, so this is gonna be one of my new episodes that are gonna come out this summer. So let's get into this. I'm gonna talk about the cast and the director first. Obviously, Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding, Alice Janney as Lavanya Golden, which is Tonya Harding's mother, Sebastian Stan as Jeff Gillooly, Paul Walter Hauser as Sean Eckhart, Caitlin Carver as Nancy Kerrigan. She's barely in the movie. McKenna Grace as young Tonya Harding, which, we're going to get into that very soon here. Julianne Nicholson as Diane Shaw. I think it's Diane Shaw. I must have missed the H on her name. Shaw London. Diane Shaw London is her name. Bobby Cannavale as Martin Mannix. He's a reporter. Directed by Greg Gillespie. You got any thoughts about this cast, Kyle?
It's like from top to bottom. It's one of a really great assembled cast full of people who are on the up and coming, that in 10 years from now, you're going to look at this cast and be like, man, there were some heavy hitters here. Like Paul Walter Hauser, I think, got Richard Jewell because of this movie. Sebastian Stan, we only knew him from The Winter Soldier. And now I'm telling you, this man's got stuff coming his way too. I think this might be his best role. Allison Janney obviously killing it. Margot Robbie, she's amazing. We'll get into her later. But yeah, I think for the most part, everyone here is hitting hard. And then there's just only going to get better and better. Then you want to talk about the director too, Craig Gillespie. And this guy, I think this was his coming out party. He he was given this big opportunity to work with Margot, and he threw everything at the wall here. And it's definitely very interesting.
To see what would stick. And I'll tell you what, a lot stuck.
Yes.
You're like, what? Where is it? And you're like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into that a little bit. All right, so we're all fans of I'm a fan of a good documentary. I've been kind of getting into documentaries a lot over the last few years. The way this film is structured is it's like a documentary where a reporter is sitting in front of the people, interviewing all the people. They're telling their recollection of the events of what happened during the Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan incident, before and after, and also a little bit of their life growing up. And that's the main character, Tonya Harding. We get into her life, and that's where the movie kind of starts at the beginning. So if you know that framework of a documentary, you kind of have an idea of how this film starts. But instead of being a documentary, it's an actual linear film that has a beginning, middle, and end. You got me? You good on that?
Yeah. So what? This is one of the things that I was talking about with Craig. Was like, this is a big film for him, and he's going to step in and say, I'm going to film this like a documentary, but have all the actors play their characters as they're being interviewed. But also within the movie, I'm going to have the characters break the fourth wall and talk to you within scenes. So I find that so fascinating. He's like, I'm going to do both these things in the same film. You look at a movie that was just on my TV literally before I came up here. It was Hustlers. And Hustlers does the same thing. You know, it's a documentary style interview. So it's weird to have the actors commenting on the characters they're playing throughout the film. But it works in this film. It works really well. I just did it with my latest short film I did called The Art of the Hot Take. I really like that style of interviews so that the characters get to comment on what's happening at the time. Just in case the audience is confused, the characters are there to give you a little bit of insight.
That's right. So a little bit at the beginning when they're kind of going through the lineup of the people that are being interviewed for the documentary, we got Lavanya. She says Tonya was the 5th child from her 4th husband. They're from Portland, Oregon. If you didn't know that, they're from Portland, Oregon. Okay, so then we get into it, and Lavanya brings Tonya out onto the ice because she's going to try to get her a coach. And Diane Nicholson, which is, let me see here, Julian Nicholson, which is Diane Shaw London, we'll just call her Diane, says, hey, there's no smoking on the ice. Tonya was the first U.S. woman to land a triple axel when she was 4, wins first competition. So she's little, and she's winning competitions at 4 years old.
Yeah.
Here. Then
she's a kid with a natural gift. You know, we all hope to have something like that. And we'll talk about it throughout the film, but Allison Janney is a terrible mother, but she did something right by getting her daughter involved in this and recognizing that she loves skating. So I'm going to give her everything I can to get in there and have an opportunity.
Absolutely. Mom says, okay, hold on. Mother very rude to, one of the mothers is rude to Tonya. You know, this is, we'll get into it a little bit as we get through it, but these people are not from a well-to-do background. Let's put it that way. All right.
No, they call themselves rednecks right off the top. They know who they are. I think one of my favorite lines from the beginning of the film is when McKenna Grace has played Tonya and she has to get off the ice to use the bathroom. And the mother's like, no, I'm going to wait right here. You get off the ice. I'm paying for this whole hour. You're going to stay on the ice until you're done, until the hour's done. And then she does a trick and she pees herself. And
I got it right here. I was just about to bring that up on the breakdown. So Tonya pees on the ice because she can't use the restroom. Mom says skate wet.
Yeah, I love that. I love that line.
She just peed her pants. Oh, go get out there and skate wet.
Yeah.
Then mom hits her with the hairbrush. And then somebody makes this insult about her looking like she chops wood all the time. And then the coach wants her to buy a fur coat. Oh, my God. So she's out hunting with her father, and they're killing rabbits. And then before you know it, she's walking down the hall with a rabbit skin coat. And, and then you're like, what's that? And they're like, yeah. And then, of course, her father and her mother don't get along, and the father leaves. And she goes, no, take me with you. Take me with you. That was sad. To me, that was a moment. I was actually kind of tearing up in that moment because it's like, you know, this woman is evil. Oh, and this kid does not need to be with her.
No. And the kid didn't want to be with her. You could see she was so sad that her father was driving away. And then as soon as the father drives away, it kicks into Spirit in the Sky starts playing in the background. And that I find that so fascinating because it's like, well, here we go. Now Tanya's going to her version of heaven, basically, where everything is not going to be what she hopes it can be.
Yeah, and we will get it. I will talk about some of the songs from the movie. I like to talk about the songs sometimes in some of these movies because they a lot of times the score or the songs really help make the film better. And this has some good songs at the right moments. So now we got Tonya. She's a teenager, even though breaking the fourth wall here, it's an adult Margot Robbie playing a 15-year-old Tonya Harding or whatever she is. So you have to have a little bit of what's the damn it. I had it on the tip of my
Oh,
tongue.
you got to suspend your disbelief. Just a little.
Suspension of disbelief. There you go. So
Yeah.
we know it's an adult Margot Robbie playing a 15. So, I mean.
She did her best to play a teenager, and she certainly had the look. I can tell you
Well,
that.
the braces, she has some acne. Yeah,
Yeah,
she did kind of look like her, yeah.
It works. And even like the scene where like she's walking or she has conversations with Jeff as a teenager, she sounds like a nervous high schooler going out or ready to talk to her first boy that she has a crush on.
Yeah, yeah. So that's Jeff. Tonya met Jeff on the ice rink. She was there 15 hours a day. She was training 15 hours a day, and she meets a boy. She's never, she's not interested in boys, but she meets Jeff. Mom wants her to concentrate on skating. First date ever, mom came along with them. Isn't that funny?
Well, something I want to bring up, like this, before she's going on that date, as she's getting ready, she has someone in her house named Creepy Chris who comes and gropes her as she's getting ready. Like, damn, what is this life this woman is living right here? That her mother's going on her first date with her, and her stepbrother, brother, whoever that is groping her before she even goes out. It's just like, wow.
Yeah. Mom calls herself the gardener, and she's a flower, and then she says, have you guys had sex yet? Comes right out. Have you guys had sex yet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she uses another word, which I'm not going to use, right? What the word is. Yeah.
Of course.
But I don't like using curse words if I can help it. Plus, this is a PG show. It's not really.
Okay. I'll remember that for some of these quotes I got later.
Yeah, I got so Tonya knows how to fix cars, helps Jeff. Like this girl, she's hunting, she's chopping wood, she's fixing cars. She ain't the typical prissy ice skating girl.
No, she's not the image that you would think of when you think of figure skaters. You think these all-American, white family, perfect skin, perfect complexion, no flaws. And Tonya just wasn't that. And she was trying to get by on just talent.
Yeah. Basically, skating is her superpower, as they say in the movie. So then this is the kind of stuff we have to get into it because it's in the movie. Jeff starts hitting Tonya, but she thought it was her fault. Now, if you know about abuse, which I do, and I've been around people that have been abused, and I've been around people that have been the abuser. When you're the abused, you think you did something wrong. You think, what did I do wrong? Why did I get hit? And in fact, it's not your fault. It's the abuser's fault. But they have you mentally brainwashed to think you're the one that's the problem. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that stuff really, when he starts abusing her, I'll tell you right now, man, I almost like wanted to reach through the screen when I first saw the movie. And I've seen it now like 3 or 4 times since. You just want to strangle this guy.
Well, you see it throughout the entire film. He doesn't stop. It's an on and off relationship that's toxic from the beginning. And like you were saying earlier, it's domestic violence at its finest. To see the reason why domestic violence happens as much as it does is because the person who's getting abused is not able to accept that it's not their fault, and they feel like they're stuck. They can't leave. And once they realize that there's something I can do about this, that this is not my fault, things can get a lot better for them. But for some reason, they believe that they're the reason why the person who's beating them up is doing it. So it's always like, it's very confusing from an outsider's perspective, but unless you've been abused, you don't really know what it's like inside of that relationship.
Yeah. So mom insults Tonya about Jeff hitting her. Like, she's like, don't let him, she's telling him, you're the dumbass for letting him do what you're doing. You know what I mean? So, which is right back to Lavanya being Lavanya again. Then this is here we go with one of the songs. Tanya's in one of her meets, and she's playing ZZ Top's Sleeping Bag, which she gets this is the kind of thing that really starts having her go down the wrong path as far as in the eyes of the judges, her competitors, people like that. Like, why are you playing ZZ Top? Where's
must be Beethoven and Mozart?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Then she's mad because she didn't get the right score. Then she gets her mother once again goes after her. You skated like a bull dyke, which you're like, wow. But that's Lavanya. Here we go with Lavanya. I mean, Lavanya is just. Mother, all right, this is where stuff starts really happening fast. But Mother gets mad at Tonya, throws a knife at her, hits her in the side of the chest.
Yeah. No, it was. Oh yeah, like right up here, it sticks, and yeah, it's that's like you can see she's going through a boyfriend who's abusing her, a mother who is constantly degrading her. Her father left her. Her stepbrother groped her. Like she really knows nothing but abuse. And when this happens, she has no reaction but to just walk away. It shows how strong of a woman she is. But also, I want to point out as we go on, like Tonya is not a perfect person either. Throughout the film, she says a lot. It's not my fault. Nothing's ever her fault in her head. So it's something that she has to confront eventually.
Then once again, right to what you just said, Tonya gets mad at the judges because she didn't get the score she deserved. Then they say, maybe you're not as good as you think you are. And then she says, of course, which is not the right thing to say to the judges, suck my dick. I mean, I'm cursing because that's what they say in the movie. But otherwise than that, I wouldn't curse. But that's the line from the movie. So that's why I'm saying that.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't blame her for that at all. I think she's gone through so many competitions where she's clearly the best out there skating. And we've seen it since she was 4 years old. She's the best one out there. And the judges aren't giving her the win because she hasn't paid her dues and is not their image of an All-American. I'd be like, screw you too. Like, that's not fair. That it should be. This is a figure skating competition, not a who's going to represent America the best competition. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
But did we get to the wedding yet? Like, did they get married?
No, haven't got there yet.
Okay, cool.
We're going to get there. Tonya fires Diane because she said she wanted her to be a better competitor.
Yeah.
I think, that was a kind of a flash decision, a decision she regretted years later. I think that's the worst thing that she could have had done at that moment. But she was at that rebellious age where it didn't matter she was just going to rebel against anybody, her mother, her coach, whatever,
Exactly. She needed someone to take her anger out on, which is what her family's done to her their entire life. They take their anger out on her, so she's just doing the exact same thing.
Okay, and then her mother or somebody says, I don't know who said that, you do dumb things when you're young, like marrying Jeff.
That was Tonya.
Tonya said that. So she's breaking the fourth wall, talking about herself. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to tell you. You don't marry the first idiot. Says, okay, now this is her mother, Lavanya, says this. I don't know what to tell you. You don't marry the first idiot who says you're pretty. You F dumb. You don't marry dumb. This is a classic Lavanya line. It's such a good
line. It's so good. Like just like another like one-liner from Lavanya that's just gonna continue on throughout the film. But something else that stuck out to me is Tonya is just jumping into this for figure skating. She doesn't understand what marriage actually is. She says in here that she thought it'd be a good idea to get married. You get good insurance. You get good insurance, and he has a car. Like that's how she views a marriage: is that insurance and a car is able to help you out when you're married, even though there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So Tonya finally hits the first triple axel at nationals. This is her words. Totally awesomest thing. F you. This is what she does. This is how she reacts to things, like an immature child. Like she did something that's great. Then she reverts to cursing, and it's just not the right thing to be doing. She's just not acting the right way.
Well, it's also like it starts to show. There's a line in here that starts to show just how much of an idiot Jeff is too. He said if she hits this triple axel, it'll make her like the Charles Barkley of figure skating. Like, what does that even mean?
Charles Barkley's the round mound of rebound. He's not Michael Jordan. Now, if you compare him to Michael Jordan, that'd be another story. But Charles Barkley,
that should have been a red flag for Tonya right there.
yeah, definitely. Then Foreigner feels like the first time. When this song plays at the right time in this movie, really good song, classic song. Like I said, some of the songs really pop up at the right time, and if you notice, they're songs from that era, the 80s, because that's when this film takes place, the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, I would imagine, in there somewhere, right?
Well, this is something you could tell Gillespie was so excited to do. And Gillespie and Margot Robbie are so excited to do was to throw in as much music as they can at the right moments. This is one of the things you want to throw at the wall, see what sticks. And there's so many needle drops in this movie, so many. And this is one that just hits really hard. Like, oh, here we go again. Because they say at this moment, once she hit the triple axel, everything changed.
You just stole the line right out from underneath me. It's right here. I was just about to say it. After the triple, everything changed. Okay. Now this is from the perspective of Jeff. We're getting into some of Jeff's stuff that he's saying, breaking the fourth wall and talking. Nancy and I were friends. The news makes her out to be a princess and me a bitch. Oh, wait. Never mind. That's Margot. That's Margot talking about Nancy Kerrigan. That's my bad. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Nancy and I were friends. The news makes her out to be a princess and me a bitch. Well, because you were. I hate to say it, Tonya, but you were, really. The things you did and the way you acted, kind of, that's the definition of that word, right?
Well, you need a hero and a villain, and in any sport, you look at it. You need a hero and a villain to build up, popularity. You look at basketball. LeBron has been the villain for most of his career against the heroes of a Kobe Bryant or even a Steph Curry. And you look at football. Tom Brady's been both a hero and a villain in the eyes of some, and he always has rivals to go against, like Peyton Manning. So if you have a hero and a villain within not just movies or TV shows, but also in sports, there's a lot more intrigue.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, this really was, Nancy was the hero and Tonya was the villain of the story, and with Jeff and Sean and whatever. So Jeff goes to a competition, and says F you to Tonya in the middle of the skating rink.
I love that. Love it. So this comes after they broke up, because after the triple axel, everything changed, and Tonya started standing up for herself. She finally left Jeff. She didn't want to take the abuse anymore. And there's this great scene where Jeff's in the basement of Sean's place and is on the phone with Tonya. And Tanya's like, yes, I filed a restraining order. Leave me alone. She hangs up on him. Then he's like, Mrs. whatever her last name is, can you please dial that number again? And they call again. She goes, F you, and hangs up. And it's like 3 times it happens. So this is where you start to see what's going on in Tanya's mind. He drives across, I don't know how many states, to go find her just to say F you. To her, that's love. And that's when they get back together. And that's that toxic relationship right there.
That they hit the nail on the head right there. Jeff and Tonya get back together. Now, I have here, Tanya's skating got worse. The relationship really was not good for her. It really started to affect her skating. And that's the part of the relationship that you say to yourself, what are you doing? You're watching the movie. You're saying, what are you doing? No. But that's not the story, right?
Yeah. This is not this is also something I want to point out too. Before we watched this movie, we knew Tonya Harding for the Nancy Kerrigan situation. But up to this point, the first time I was watching this film, I forgot that incident even happened, because I was so locked in with just Tonya Harding as a skater. And that just shows you how well they told the story. Is I didn't even realize that this moment was coming. That was just so focused on what's happening to Tonya at this moment.
Yeah, you're really invested in her character throughout the film during each moment that's going on. So she gets a broken skate blade at a competition, which made her fall.
Once again, not her fault.
Not her fault. And this is one that Jeff says it's not his fault. This is from Tonya's perspective. Jeff slams Tonya's hand in the car door. Jeff and Tonya finally get divorced.
Yeah.
You don't slam a door on someone's hand and it's not your fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, that's clear as day. That was his fault. And I was, once again, I wanted to jump through the screen and strangle the guy. I was so upset, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, Sebastian Stan is great at playing this terrible human being. I didn't know he had this in him.
I had no clue he had that in him. But he's annoying too. He's like this, like he has like this nasally kind of voice and the way he talks and stuff. You just can't stand the guy.
And the mustache, yeah, really adds to it. Yeah.
All right, another good song. Goodbye Stranger from Supertramp. Another just perfect song at the perfect time. When this song, you get goosebumps when this song comes on at that time because they're getting divorced and she finally is exorcised the demon. She thinks of Jeff Gillooly.
Yes.
At that moment. Then, of course, just like a lot of guys do, cannot take no. Jeff pulls a gun on Tonya, says you need me. Shot ricocheted off the car, hit Tonya. Cops called, pulled over Jeff. Jeff's arrested. Oh my God. Kyle. Well, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
He doesn't get. I don't believe he gets arrested. I remember Tonya talks about how he talks his way out of everything.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. He talks his way out of it, like just because Jeff can get away with anything. He's a smooth talker. He's a smart man, and it's just one of those things. Like, man, this guy can get away with anything. But have the first Olympics happened yet at this point? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think by now. They have happened, and she's now a waitress. She's now a waitress at Spud City with no deals, no endorsement deals or anything like that. So she has to work at Spud City.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like this is a very real circumstance for a lot of these athletes. Is fourth place at the Olympics gets you nothing. And a lot of these people work their entire lives just to get to this moment. And if it doesn't work out for them, then they end up like Tonya Harding did, just working at a restaurant, doing what her mother did with no high school education and no husband. You're stuck there, and it sucks. That's a lot. I could watch a documentary about fourth place Olympians forever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be dark.
Oh yeah, that's dark. All right, so Diane comes back to see Tonya, tells her the Olympic Committee announced changes in the years. Instead of 4 years from now, it's 2 years. And she asked Tonya if she wants to give it one last chance. This, you're thinking to yourself, okay, here we go. She's going to get her act together. She's going to do good. Oh, God.
Yes. Well, I mean, she has all the talent to do it. She really does. And you start to see this, like the next montage is all these competitions she's in and not winning one, not winning them. And it's then where she goes marching up to the guy in the car the judge in the car who quickly gets in the car. And she's like, why won't you just give me the scores that I deserve? And he puts it bluntly to her, it's not just about the figure skating. It's about the image you put on. And that's what's like, it sucks because talent should be the number one thing. And it's just not for this sport.
Yeah. You just, those are going to be the next two things I said. Training montage, The Heart's Barracuda, another song, great song at the right time. Judd says she's not awesome. Wholesome American Girl. She not the image they are looking for. Now this is hard for her because after she left, the last time she saw her mother threw a knife at her. But she goes to visit her mother. She goes to visit her mother and asks if she was ever any good. Okay. She asked her mother if she was ever any good to her mother. Like, what did her mother ever really care about her? Did you ever love me? She's basically playing the victim in Lavagna's eyes.
Well, the thing is, she did, in the worst way possible, she did care. The mother did care because she put every penny, she says, that she ever made into her figure skating. She really cared about Tonya. And I think there was already like that hard mother that was in her, like that hard coach that was already part of Lavon. And she was pushing Tonya. But then when Tonya decided to go play around with the boys, that really is like pushed Lavon away. Like, oh, you don't care anymore. I care more about this than you do. You're just wasting your talent. And that's where the divide came between the mother and the daughter.
Yeah. I mean, this is the last part of this dialogue. Lavagna, I gave you the gift. Tonya, you're a monster. Tonya, I don't think I can make it to the Olympics without you. Even though she calls her a monster, I don't think I can make it to the Olympics without you.
Yeah.
She knows how important, and she finally figured it out that her mother is important in her life. She needs her mother.
Yeah. So, yes. It's just one of those things. She always runs back to her abusers.
Also, Jeff.
Yes, and well, this is where everything changes.
All right, so now we're getting into the third act here, Kyle. The incident. Everybody remembers it differently,
and that's a fact. So, I think this is the line of the movie that describes the entire theme of the film. And Jeff says everyone remembers the incident differently, and that's a fact. That's how this entire film has been made from the beginning, is everyone's commenting on the situation in different ways. This line really symbolizes everything we saw before and we're going to see for the rest of the film. Is everyone thinks they know exactly what happened, when in reality, no one knows what happened.
Yeah. So the incident is, in case anybody's watching this and don't know, it's a threat to kill Nancy at Nationals. Jeff comes up with a plan to mail letters to mess with Nancy's head.
Well, really Sean too. Sean was the one who came up with the idea. Sean's crazy.
Well, he came up with the different plan. Sean did. Jeff came up with the plan to do letters.
Mm-hmm.
Letters, not the actual what happened.
Yes.
So then Sean helps come up with a better plan, which he believes is a better plan. Derek, he's got a guy named Derek. And then we got another song, which pops up twice in the film. Gloria,
yes,
by Laura Branigan. Oh, God. What a great song. Gloria, Gloria.
I think this is also like the introduction of Sean, how big of a character he's going to be from here on out. And I love this character so much for how clueless he is. He thinks he's this amazing person when he's not. And he's saying things like, I have my top operatives on the case, and I have this man who I really even shouldn't be saying his name. It's Derek. Like he always says, he says he's an international counterterrorism expert. He's so delusional about what he is, but it's so funny to watch on screen.
I'll tell you, this third act, the film gets really funny. There's so much comedy gold in here. It's okay. So this is another funny moment. Okay, they finally figured out that Nancy trains at Tony Can Arena, but the guys calling them and they think it's Tuna Can Arena and all this stuff. So that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, this is just, oh God. Jeff confessed to the FBI about the plan. All right, said Nancy didn't know about it. $1,000 back, plan still on. Okay. All right. I'm kind of going ahead here in the thing in my notes here. Okay, what happened is Sean got $1,000 from Jeff to do the plan.
Yeah.
He sends Derek and another guy to what they believe to be where Nancy is at Tony Kent Arena. Turns out they're not at Tony Kent Arena, they're in Detroit. We'll get into that here in a second.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest things in the whole movie. So
Well, it's just like Bobby Cannavale, I think, really comes into play here too, because he's playing the reporter who's talking about covering all this stuff, and he really puts he puts the perfect words on how big of an idiots these two guys were who executed this assault that happened.
Yeah. So then finally, I guess Tonya gets word of what's going on, and she was like, "Hey, don't." Sean's a fat nobody gas bag who lives with his parents and has never been laid.
Mm-hmm.
So she figured Sean out right away, and everybody else thinks this guy is like a great guy or something, but she knows right away. Women know men. Women know men. They can figure men out faster than anything. Okay, and this is where you were bringing up where Bobby Cannavale, two of the biggest boobs in the story of boobs. Two of the biggest boobs in a story of boobs.
Yeah. Like this is where the incident happens, where we get to see
two guys break her knee.
Well, no, it's one guy. It's like this.
One guy breaks her knee, one guy's the driver.
Yeah, but the way this happens is he's just before he gets out of the car, his friend tells him, "Clear your mind. They can feel the vibes, and don't make eye contact with anyone so they can't identify you." And this guy's just walking around. Look, he talks to people. He says, "Where's Nancy?" And he walks around. He takes Nancy's knee out, which I'll bring up Nancy in a second. Takes Nancy's knee out, and then as he's trying to get out, keeps shaking the chains, can't do it. Takes his head, bashes it against the glass, and breaks it. And then comes out, tackles a man who's just standing there, and throws the weapon that he used to beat Nancy to the side, and gets in the car, and they drive away.
I mean, how stupid can you be? This is the dumbest thing. If this guy ain't getting caught, I don't know what Kyle. Okay, so we got another song, Violent Femmes, Beautiful Girl, Love the Dress, another great classic from those days. Okay, so then we come to find out that earlier in the movie there was a death threat on Tonya. Turns out Sean called in the death threat on Tonya.
Thinking 4 moves ahead.
4 moves ahead. Yeah. Okay, January 4th, the next day after the event. Okay, this is want to talk about. We've been talking about a couple idiots. Shane parked outside of the arena until we find out she was in Detroit. Moved his car all over the freaking place, thinking he was doing.
Every 15 minutes for 2 days straight is what he kept moving his car in an arena that she wasn't even at.
She did. She was in Detroit the whole time.
Yes.
All right. So, and then this is like, so Shane left a trail of breadcrumbs a mile long. Yeah. I bet they left a big trail of breadcrumbs. There's so much. This is like the 90s or the early. This ain't today. This is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're still easy to find these two idiots. Yeah. All right. So where are we at here? FBI stops to talk with Tonya and Jeff at the hotel. Okay. So this is where they're kind of denying having any involvement in this. Tonya, happy about
I want to talk about Sean's strategy from here on out, because when Jeff goes to confront Sean at his house, Sean says, "This is great for us. We're all over here. Everyone's gonna be needing a bodyguard now. We're gonna be rolling in the money." Like, does he think he's gonna be the bodyguard for every single figure skater? That doesn't make sense. You think one guy's gonna be able to protect 20 women? You can't do that. It's funny how his mind works, where he's always thinking 4 moves ahead, but he's making the dumb decision every single time.
Yeah. The things that he did prior to the 4 moves ahead are freaking idiotic moves.
Yes.
So Tonya's despite all this that's going on, she's happy to be at the Olympics. Sean is arrested by the FBI in Portland. He blames Jeff. They meet at the Golden Buddha. He's trying to work this out where how he got arrested and Jeff is still out.
Well, I mean, the reason why Sean gets caught is because he's telling everybody and their mother like what he did. They show clips of him talking to someone in the bar about it, and then he's talking to his paper or someone riding by on a bike as he's taking out the trash, and he's talking to someone when he's standing next to at a urinal. He's bragging about it. Like, look what I did. Look what I came up with. Of course you're going to get caught.
Yeah. So finally Jeff gets nabbed by the cops and the FBI. Tonya. Okay. This is what somebody says. This is a real shit show for them. Whatever. I mean, this is the line from the movie.
I think this is Bobby Cannavale's character.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bobby Cannavale said this is a real shit show for Jeff and Tonya. So Tonya gets mad. Jeff punches her in the face. Here we go again. This is the final straw that broke the camel's back.
Or this is where she turns him in. Just like, he definitely knew something about this.
Tonya tells FBI everything she knows. She gives up Jeff.
And then the FBI gives up Tonya to Jeff. Right back at her.
Yeah, that's. And then she goes, Jeff, you should just kill yourself.
Yes.
It's like, after everything that the guy's been through, he's going to kill himself? You think he's just going to kill himself? No, he ain't going to kill himself. These people that are doing all this kind of craziness in life, they ain't going to kill themselves. Well, sometimes they do. We won't get into that. I probably shouldn't have brought that up. But all right, so Sean says he's an expert espionage and has been quoted in magazines. Of course, the lady interviewing says, no, you're not. And he keeps bickering back and forth through, yes, I am. No, you're not. No, this is what an idiot this guy is.
Oh, Paul Walter Hauser plays this so brilliantly, though. Like, I believe that he's an idiot. I believe that he has his eyes closed and he's taking a breath before each sentence. And you're like, man, what is with this guy? His mind works in different ways.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So news trucks everywhere all around Tonya. She hopes to still compete in Lillehammer Olympics. Tonya loved, hated, and then became a punchline, which is really the crux of this story. She's loved, then hated, and then she becomes a punchline.
And for a second, she got to enjoy the fame. When she made the second Olympic team, there's a scene where she's walking out with tons of cameras around her, and the little girl asked for autographs, says she wants to be like her when she grows up. And that might be the best moment in Tanya's life right there, is being able to enjoy that fame. But are we at the Olympics now, right? The second Olympics?
Yeah, we're getting close. We're getting close to that point.
All right.
So mom visits Tonya at home. Tonya hugs her and says thank you. Mom was being recorded by FBI. News people had Tanya's truck tires flattened and towed sometimes. All right, so her mom comes to her house, but she's being recorded by the FBI, trying to get her to give herself up like she had something to do with the thing. And of course, that makes her mad at her mother. Then come to find out her truck's being towed, her tires that was the news, trying to get Tonya to come out so she can come out and give them sound bites and photos and stuff like that. That was Bobby Cannavale doing that.
It's a heavy play. And I mean, you got to respect the game right there. And I guess that wasn't the first time they've done it either.
No, apparently not. So then there's a press conference apology by Tonya about the assault. Then there's a $10 million lawsuit from Tonya versus the Olympic Committee because she's basically, they're saying that they don't want her. She can't be on the Olympics. The thing is, she had to be on the team because CBS needed the ratings. They needed Tonya Harding there. They needed Nancy and Tonya there at the same time because the ratings were going to go through the roof for CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Tonya had a problem with her laces. All right, so She's at the Olympics. Tonya had a problem with her laces.
Well, I want to jump in before that.
Right.
Before she goes out there, she's sitting in front. This is the best scene in the movie. She's sitting in front of the mirror, and it's just devastated. She's not putting makeup on. She's forcing makeup on. She's basically beating herself up, putting makeup on, and she's trying to like just fight all these emotions. And then she just puts this smile on her face, and a single tear goes down, and you can see how broken of a woman she is at this point. This is a better mirror scene than Joaquin Phoenix and Joker. And like, I could see just how damaged she is. She's like, this is the biggest moment of her life, and all she can think about is everything that's happened before. It's so devastating. And this is where Margot earns that Oscar nomination, is this scene right here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, to finish what I was saying, Tonya had a problem with her laces and she didn't compete very well at the Olympics. This is a bad situation for Tonya. How is Tonya a poor sport after Nancy wins the silver medal? You know, this is her though. This is her the whole time. You just don't realize it. This is who she is as a person. Of course, Tanya's going to be a poor sport because she thinks she's better. The whole time, she's always thought she was better.
Yeah.
She never got the fair shake. So, of course, she's going to be a poor sport about it.
And for the most part, Tanya's been the better skater. I mean, they never really dive into Nancy the most. Really, Nancy, I think, kind of played it up a little bit when she got hurt, because the famous clip of her is her going, why? Like, all right, you're being a little dramatic here. Come on.
Dramatic. Yeah, that was very, very dramatic. You're right. So Tonya gets 4 years of probation and banned from Figure Skating Association, pleads to the judge and cries. Wow, this is a powerful scene for me, because the one thing she has in her entire life is figure skating, and now they're going to take that away from her. And she just totally breaks down. This is the one thing that does it to her finally, after everything that she's been through. When she gets this news where she's banned from figure skating, she just completely breaks down, cries to the judge, pleads with the judge.
Well,
please.
She says it right here. She's like, you're giving me a life sentence. The other two guys got 18 months. I'll do that. I'll do 18 months. Don't take away figure skating from me. And she says it. You're giving me a life sentence right now for just not saying anything to the cops.
Yeah. That, you say to yourself, wow, you really, at that moment, you really do have sympathy for her.
Yeah, it's very harsh. It's super, like, she didn't deserve that at all. But that's just what they did.
I'm gonna say the last part before I say this part that I had here. I just want to end it with this last part. Okay, so Jeff admitted to ruining Tanya's career, which is the truth. He ruined her career by doing this. This ruined her career. And then we know, I don't know if you remember this, maybe you're probably young. Tonya became a boxer, a celebrity in boxing matches on Fox. I remember her. Man, she got knocked out by that lady. Knocked out by that lady. She was tough, but she wasn't that tough by that lady. But the part I wanted to end this part on, we'll get into our what we think about the movie, what we think about the relevance of the movie, is the news trucks leave, and they're all leaving. And we see what the next news cycle is, Kyle. They're going to follow the OJ trial, the OJ Simpson. That's the next thing. I mean, literally next. Tanya's yesterday's news, OJ's tomorrow's news. I mean, what a perfect ending to the movie.
This is the time. This is the time in culture when the 24-hour news cycle was happening, where like Fox and CNN and all of them were starting up, and we need news going all the time. And Tonya Harding was a story. If you have a story you hit on, like we're looking at right now, the coronavirus, it's 24 hours. So when OJ is happening, that's 24 hours. That's a new big story. We need to hit on that right away. And yeah, like you said, Tanya's yesterday's news. I think it's really interesting that the last shot of this movie is her laying on the ground with blood laying on the mat with blood on the mat. and she gets back up and starts fighting again. And that's really like the symbol right there of no matter how many times Tonya was knocked down, she always got back up, even if it's going to cost her.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. You're absolutely right there. She always keeps coming back for more, and it's like, when is enough? But yeah, I always just had a laugh at that. The news trucks leave, and the next thing is the OJ.
Yeah,
the OJ trial. I was like, oh my God, how poetic is that? And then the next thing after OJ is the '96 Olympics, and then it's just like all these different stories. Like you said, the 24-hour news cycle. So obviously the acting is Allison Janney, Sebastian Stan, Margot Robbie, Paul. These guys are fantastic in this movie. The story is great. The direction is great. But what I like to ask, I guess, is what is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, because this is a relatively new movie. What is the relevance of this movie? Why is this movie great? And it's going to continue to be great for decades down. Because that's when it comes to sports movies, the ones that I want to talk about and the ones I like to discuss, they're just transcend. They're just great decade after decade after decade. And this one's not that old, but it's still a great film. And I have a feeling people are going to be talking about this 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road.
I think what its relevance is, it's unique. Like we said at the beginning, Craig Gillespie threw a lot at the wall to make this film work. And it did work. It worked very well. I think the 80s music is going to help kind of keep it in a little box, because it's always fun to go back and hear those songs. And then you're able to introduce Tonya Harding to people every 4 years when the Winter Olympics come by. This is always going to be a film that's talked about. What are the best Olympic films ever made? This is going to be one of them. If you think about this century, would have been the best, or how many great sports films have we had this century? Not many.
Fighter, Warrior,
$1 Million Baby, Moneyball. I mean,
yeah,
they're good. These are really good movies, but it's not like the abundance you had from the 70s to the 90s. You know,
80s, yeah.
So it's I think that's what's gonna be looked on is also is like you said, the acting. I could see 10 years from now, Margot's got 2 Oscars at this point. And we're going to look at it and say, this is the one she should have won for to start this. She's probably going to have a lesser performance 10 years from now that wins her the Oscar. And we'll say, well, it's because she should have won it for Tonya.
Yeah, who did she lose to for looking it up, I can't remember.
This was 2018. This 2017 Oscars. And The Shape of Water won Best Picture that year. It was Frances McDormand. McDormand. So that makes sense. But I feel like she should have won. As far as performances of the decade, I put J.K. Simmons and Whiplash number 1 from like 2010 to 2019. J.K. Simmons, I think, gave the best performance of the decade. I have Allison Janney right there at 2 because this performance is haunting. It's deadly, and I could also feel the back and forth. That scene where she goes back to Tonya when she's recording the conversation. Those are real words she's saying. She's really like saying, I did care about you and I did love you. And I could feel that motherly love, even though she doesn't know how to express it. This is the first time she's actually expressing it, even though it has cruel intentions behind it. I think that like as soon as this was one of the performances where people saw the movie and said, well, she's going to win the Oscar. I mean, there's no competition here. And she cleaned up throughout the entire awards process. So I think that really, I mean, I put, like I said, J.K. Simmons, Allison Janney, and then I don't know, maybe like I love Bradley Cooper in Star is Born. I love Margot in this movie. These are some of the better performances of the decade, I think.
Yeah, and when you talk about the great sports movies of the decade or the century, how many of them have females? If you go back throughout the greatest sports movies of all time, which I try to feature on Bleacher Features, there isn't any with featuring. I mean, you might have Girl Fight, but that's kind of down the line, But this is going to be considered one of the greatest sports movies of all time in a batch of movies that are men, coached by men teams, maybe A League of Their Own. I might be in the conversation where this in A League of Their Own are like standing by
$1 Million Baby. The only one.
$1 Million Baby. Yeah. So you got 3. You really got 3 great female driven sports movies. And Margot Robbie, and once again, Oscar does it this way every time. People deserving to win don't win their first, sometimes their second time, and they realize, oh crap, we forgot to give Paul Newman an Oscar. Let's give it to him for The Color of Money, and he should have won for 5 other films.
Yeah, Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman. I mean, he should have won this for so many other times. There's so many examples that you can go back to. Like Laura Dern. Laura Dern was excellent this past year in Marriage Story. Should have won for other films too. Like,
she was young.
Thank you.
When she was younger, she was knocking it out of the park about every year with the supporting role or lead role in films in the late 80s, early 90s, and she wasn't winning anything. And now she comes back 30 years later, she wins for something. She should have won 30 years ago. Margot Robbie will get that Oscar, like you said. She's going to keep giving great performances. But one of the reasons why I think she's great, and this is, she championed this film. She brought it along. She chose Greg Gillespie. She got the script the way she wanted it. And when she put all those pieces in place, you saw what happened.
This was their production company that financed this film. This is their first big movie that they were going to make. And Margot was the force at the head of it. She tracked down Tonya Harding. They talked so many times. And then what's amazing to me is they filmed this thing in 30 days. That's it. 30 days. I was just looking it up. Allison Janney was only on set for 8 days. She won an Oscar for 8 days worth of acting, which is insane. So it's just, there's so much that had to go right for this film, and it did. The figure skating scenes, they had to use CGI, but Margot, for the most part, is doing that figure skating, but for the triple axel, obviously, they'd use CGI. It works for me. I don't notice anything.
I didn't notice any. I'll be honest with you. I'm watching the post-credit scenes, and then I'm thinking in my head what I saw during the film, and I'm like, wow, that looked pretty freaking good to me.
Yeah.
I was shocked how good it looked, So I couldn't tell that was CGI on this skating scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. So one more question, Kyle. Obviously, we talked about how great the film is. Why do you personally love this film?
So this was, I always remember watching this film because we're having a little trip in New York City, and we love going to New York City because it's just such a great city to be around, to be in. And the person we were with said, all right, we're going out to dinner. You and your sister go watch a movie or something. And this was around December. We live in Florida. And in New York and Los Angeles, they get a lot of these Oscar movies early. They get them a couple weeks early. And Florida has to wait sometimes till January to see these films. And we're like, wait, we got to go see something that's going to take a while to get out. And we're like, well, Tonya's playing right here, AMC Times Square this time. Let's go see it. And it was my sister and I. I remember loving this movie so much. She loved it too, so much so that we saw this movie 3 or 4 times in theaters because we brought my grandmother to go see it. We brought my father to go see it because we're saying, this movie's awesome. You guys got to go check it out. And then it was also the reason that I kind of fell in love with Margot as an actress. I wrote an article for the website last year about why I think Margot Robbie is the most fascinating actress working today. And it's because throughout her career, she has made the right decisions every time. And she's the best part of any film she's in, even if it's a bad film. Look at Suicide Squad. What's the one thing you remember about Suicide Squad? It's how great she was as Harley Quinn. You look at some of the early decisions she made. She jumped on with Scorsese as her first breakout role in The Wolf of Wall Street. She said, I want to go work with big name actors. Leonardo DiCaprio, Will Smith in Focus, and Will Smith in Suicide Squad too. And then you move on to later in her career now, you've had Quentin Tarantino. I'm going to go play Sharon Tate in a Quentin Tarantino movie. That was a decision by her. And now she's looking to do Bombshell. Bombshell was another great one that she did just recently. A hard-hitting performance there that I think she should have won an Oscar for that too. I thought she was better than Laura Dern. And now looking in the future, I remember that I wrote that article because there was something that came out that she's looking to reboot Tank Girl. And I'm thinking to myself, who wants to see a Tank Girl movie? But Margot Robbie is the one circling it. Now I'm interested because she is a smart woman and it puts her entire mind and soul into everything she's doing. She's only 29 years old. So when I look back, it's because this is one of the first of, I think, many amazing performances from Margot Robbie.
Yeah, she really does know how to make the right choices. Even though the movie wasn't good, Mary Queen of Scots, there's a scene in the middle of the movie with her and Saoirse Ronan, and that is a powerful scene between those. So two of the most powerful actresses in the world today. You're going to see a lot of both of them in years to come. Saoirse Ronan, obviously, I don't have to say anything about her.
Saoirse needs her Oscar too. That's coming.
Yeah. And then that middle of the scene made the whole movie worthwhile. Not that the movie was the greatest movie, but them mano a mano going at it to get in that 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was there. It was kind of cool. All right, Kyle, where can you be found?
You could find me on the internet at Kyle Movie Guy and on Facebook at Kyle Arango. I'm, always, writing stuff. Obviously, we don't have any screenings going on lately because of all this coronavirus stuff. So reviews have slowed down a bit, but there's always streaming stuff. There's also TV shows we like to talk about. The Jader and Kyle Show. Jader and Kyle Show is a brand new show we've launched about 4 weeks ago, where you guys vote on a movie every single week, and we talk about it, break it down. This week we're going to be doing Game Night. Well, actually, I don't know when this is dropping, so Game Night is going to be our next episode. We've already done The Fugitive, and we did Point Break. Then we covered all the Marvel films just the other week, which was a 4.5-hour podcast that we did not expect, and that was a long time. I was exhausted after that. But the final thing I want to plug is I just graduated film school. And for my last semester, I made a film called The Art of the Hot Take, and it's kind of like a documentary style film where it's about a radio show, and the radio host, who's kind of a clown, who kind of finds that the team is better than the individual by the end of it. And it's kind of in the Office style. It's a comedy in the Office style, and it's also got some heart into it too. So please check that out if you guys get a chance. It's on YouTube. Just search my name, Kyle Arango, or The Art of the Hot Take on YouTube, and you can go find it out there. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. You can always find me at Dan Skip Allen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Also, I'm a film critic. I used to write for a website called cinesportstalk.com. I don't write for them anymore. But if you want to read anything that I wrote or any of the things, you can still go to Cinesportstalk. That's cinesportstalk.com. Cinesportstalk.com. I wrote about sports and movies, all kinds of articles and movie reviews. Currently write for a website called disappointmentmedia.com. It's DISPPIONTMEDIA media, where right now, like Kyle said, there's not a lot of movies out in theaters, so I'm doing a lot of retrospectives, covering movies of people that died. Brian Dennehy died, so I did a review of Rambo, First Blood. Irfan Khan died, so I did a review of Slumdog Millionaire. Also, 20th anniversaries, 25th anniversaries, 30th anniversaries. I got Gladiator out. I got Braveheart coming out pretty soon. Later this year, I'll probably have Goodfellas. So, and there's the South by Southwest did a bunch of movies on Amazon. I'm reviewing some of them. So I'm trying to find some movies here and there, little links I'm catching. People are giving me links of different things. So I'm trying to get some new movies, but also watching like HBO and things like that. Also, the Top 5 Weekly is the show that I do every week. Right now, like Kyle said, there's no movies in theaters. So we did a whole month of classic topics starting in May. This is not going to air until June or so. So May, you should have already been able to have a chance to see those. So for Kyle and myself, thank you very much, everybody. Good night.